Hey. Hey, you. What are you doing?
What?
You're not using someone else's work, are you?
No? No, I'm not. Hey! What do you think you're doing? Nothing?
Don't lie to us. We know you used Justin Bieber's song without permission.
And you know what that means.
Snapshot. 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 Snapshot.
In 1978, jazz flautist James Newton.
That's not James Newton.
Shut up!
James Newton registered a work called Choir with the U.S. Copyright Office. Rights in the song were assigned to a publishing company known as Janu Music, which was owned by Newton himself. The song Choir was then recorded by Newton and released on his 1982 album Axum on the recording label known as ECM Records. ECM now held the rights to the master recording. Then, in 1992, the Beastie Boys obtained a license from the ECM label to use a 6-second flute sample of the Choir recording. It sounded something like this. They did not consult Newton, and ECM did not inform Newton of this agreement. The Beastie Boys used this sample as a background loop in one of their songs, known as Pass the Mic. The song became a big hit on release. 7 years later, in the year 2000, James Newton was giving a lecture at the University of California, Irvine. A student there mentioned he had heard Newton's flute riff used to an old Beastie Boys recording. Horrified by this, Newton decided to take action against the Beastie Boys on grounds of copyright infringement. The Central District Court of California found against Newton, dismissing the complaint on all counts. The judge, Nora Manella, made 3 basic points. 1. The distinction between the song and the sound recording. 2. Whether the sequence of notes is protected under copyright. And 3. Whether the sample is too small or trivial to be recognized by an average listener. Because the Beastie Boys obtained a license from ECM, which owned the master recording, to use the flute sample, only the song copyright was an issue, not the recording. The 3-note sequence was ruled not original and lacked distinction, and the focus of the Beastie Boys song was not on the sample itself, but more towards the actual vocal content. So as you can see, when an artist creates a song and records it, the copyright is split into 2 separate entities, the actual song composition and the recording of the song. The song composition is licensed to a publishing company, while the master recording of the song is owned by the record label. To collect royalties, artists use collection societies. For example, PRS, which stands for Performing Rights Society, is a collection society that collects royalties for the actual song composition. For now, let's call PRS the Pizza Recipe Society. So imagine a pizza. It's your own personal recipe. You think it's so good that you take it to the Pizza Recipe Society and register it. Then, a couple of weeks later, you discover that someone else has used your recipe, but added their own unique flavoring. It's basically the same recipe, but with some added ingredients, like pineapple, mushrooms, ham. Is this imitation? Or is it innovation? This, of course, only refers to the pizza recipe, though. On the other hand, you have a different collection society. MCPS, which stands for Mechanical Copyright Protection Society. They collect the royalties for the actual recording of the song. But for this purpose, let's call them the Manually Created Pizza Society. So let's rewind back to your original pizza, and let's look at it from a different perspective. Say you've made an actual pizza, a manually created pizza, and left it out on the counter. Someone else comes along and decides it looks so good that they'd like a little slice. So they take that slice and add a little something else, like lettuce, an apple, some kind of cream or something, I guess, and some cheese, their own little sample platter. Some might argue that they made their own special meal, but they did technically also use a slice of your actual pizza. So is this imitation? Or is it innovation? Where do you draw the line?
Is that my pizza?
Yeah, but I just took a slice.
You took a slice. What's wrong with you, man?
But I made something new out of it.
I don't care if you did something new, it's still my pizza.
Yeah, but it was just sitting there on the table.
Yeah, but I was the one who made it.
Yeah, but it's just a pizza. It's not like it's copyright or anything.
So why all this fuss about copyright and who owns what? Because we humans are greedy, and we all want a piece of the pie. So because we humans are greedy and want to get paid, it seems like you can't just go out there and buy a CD and use it for whatever you want. So the question is, what can you do with a CD? You can listen to it, admire it with friends, toast it, drop it, cook it, invisibility cloak,
I am invisible.
make it rain, eat it, make love to it, wear it as a hat, Inception, use it as a frisbee, use it as a weapon, fight over it. You can even burn it to your computer. But what you cannot do is copy it.
Finally done. This might actually be my best composition yet. But wait, what should I use it for? I don't really know actually. I'm sure someone else could use it in some way. I wonder if there's a way that I can distribute this to the public for free, but still make sure I get credit for it.
Well, that's easy. You could just use Creative Commons.
What?
That's right, Creative Commons. Imagine a private area. It belongs only to you. This is where you do all, whatever it is you do when you're alone. And on the other hand, you have a public area, which is yours, but everyone else can use it too. So, private area, public area, private, public, private, public. Yeah, you get the idea. Well, this is kind of how Creative Commons works. So what is Creative Commons? Creative Commons is a non-profit organization that enables the sharing and use of creativity and knowledge through free legal tools, whether it's music, film, photography, lyrics, or art. So some guy comes up with a great idea. It turns into a song, and he's pretty proud of it. But he wants to give people the right to share, use, and even build upon the work he's created, so he decides to publish it under a Creative Commons license. Creative Commons gives you flexibility and protects the people who use your work, so they don't have to worry about copyright infringement, as long as they abide by the conditions that you have specified. If you're looking for content that you can freely and legally use, there's a giant pool of Creative Commons licensed material available to you. By allowing your work to be part of Creative Commons, you enable people to learn from it and be inspired by it. In turn, if these people also put their work on Creative Commons, then they will also in turn inspire others, developing a wealth of creativity, driving new development, growth, and productivity. There are 4 optional aspects of the Creative Commons license, decided by the creator. Attribution. This means you must credit the creator, the title, and the license the work is under. Every Creative Commons license requires you to credit the creator. Non-commercial. This means the work must in no way be used for commercial purposes. No derivative works. This means the work must only be used exactly how it is. It cannot be adapted or modified in any way, like for instance, what someone would do when they are sampling. And finally, share alike. This means any new work produced using this material must be made available under the same license as the original work.
That is not James Newton.
Oh,
Hey, Sam!
how's the ski trip?
Yeah, ski trip.
Oh, so how's our snapshot coming?
Yeah, we're almost finished.
Okay, so what have we learned?
We learned that Creative Commons is a possible solution for sharing your work with the public. However, Creative Commons is still not working at its full potential. So why is that? Well, this is because, as we said earlier, everybody wants a slice. Even though we all wish to freely express ourselves to the world, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the size of your wallet. As artists, we want to get paid for our work. If you see it from the record label's perspective, their whole business model is built on the idea that the money is in the copyright. But the copyright doesn't have value in itself. It's only when the copyrighted material is somehow resonating with the public that it has value. Because only when copyrighted material has cultural value, people decide to invest in it. And that's when it becomes valuable. So in truth, when you take a step back and look at the big picture, you realize that though Creative Commons does seem like a good idea in theory, at this point in time, is not destined to work, because it is instead being used by artists, such as us, as a vehicle to get our art form out there to the public, until a record label decides to invest in our product. It's a vicious cycle.